came out here this morning, had the day off. It's supposed to rain all day. That's why I have the day off. They canceled. Came out here to do a video I've been meaning to do for a while on how to throw a bait caster. As I'm idling out through this canal right here, I see some fish blowing up, and I know I'm out here for one reason, but I can't idle past fish that are blowing up. So let's see if we can catch a couple of these, and then we'll get straight to how to cast a bait caster. First cast. Couldn't resist. A lot of people say it's bad luck to catch a fish on your first cast in the morning, but it's never bad luck to catch a fish anytime. Especially when it's on top water. So I'm going to catch a few more of these, then we'll get to the video on how to cast a bait caster. Number two. Whew. It's hard to do a how-to video when it's about to rain and they're crushing topwater baits like they are right now. I don't care that they're small. Alright, now that I got the fishing out of the way, couldn't resist. They were busting shad right out of the mouth of this canal. Came out here to do a how to cast a bait caster video, and I couldn't resist. I had to catch a couple of them. But now that I got the fish catching out of the way, I'm going to do a video I've been meaning to do a long time on how to cast a bait caster. It's going to be part of the How I Do It series, so no criticism. I'm sure there's a bunch of different ways. I know there's a bunch of different ways to cast a bait caster, but this is how I teach people how to cast a bait caster. I don't watch a lot of fishing YouTube videos, but before I decided to do this one, because it's been done so many times, I checked out a few of them. And I quickly realized, there's a bunch of them out there, but I quickly realized that a lot of the guys that did these how to cast a bait caster videos have never really taught somebody how to throw a bait caster. And like any teacher, or like anybody that teaches any kind of subject, the more people you teach or the longer you teach the subject, the better you get at it. I've been guiding for about 20 years now, and I've done over 5,000 guide trips, and in those 5,000 guide trips I've taught at least a couple thousand people how to cast a bait caster. But this is for beginners. This is how I teach people how to throw a bait caster. Like I said, there's many ways. There's flipping, pitching, sidearm cast, one-arm cast. This is going to be for beginners or people that need a fresh start. So let's see how it goes. Alright, so here I'm starting out with a 13 Fishing Concept Z reel. It's a couple years old, been on several hundred fishing trips. I have a 7-foot, 1-inch fake chrome medium heavy rod. And casting a bait caster, it's something that's not talked about very often in the videos that I watched, is the rod selection. When you're just starting out, your rod selection is just as important as proper reel adjustment. What I've noticed, a lot of my customers over the years that bring their own equipment, is they have too light of action rods. There's several different actions of rods out there. There's hundreds of different actions of rods out there, and that's great. But when you're first starting out, what I would suggest is a 7-foot to 7-foot 3-inch medium heavy action rod. that doesn't have a lot of whip in it when you're casting. When you first start that cast, as you come back, that rod's gonna bow, and when you fling that bait forward, whatever you're throwing, it's gonna sling it out there at a pretty high rate. That's what causes a lot of backlashes. It's not the reel adjustment, it's the rod action. When you throw that thing out there, as soon as you cast, it's gonna leave the tip of the rod at a very fast rate, and as it leaves the rod, it's gonna start to slow down very quickly. Your reel has been engaged in that cast to spin at a high rate, and that's where you get the backlash, is because it's spinning faster than the lure's traveling. If you use a medium heavy action rod, the rod's not gonna bend as much when you throw it. It's not gonna bow and whip that bait out there as fast. So you're casting the lure more than you're casting the rod tip. All I have on here is a Super Fluke, weightless, 15-pound fluorocarbon, and I just cast it out there about 40 yards with no problem. Secondly, with reel adjustment. On these 13 reels, you're going to open that side plate. You see, I have mine dialed all the way down to 1 because I have a lot of experience. When you first start out, especially if it's a brand new reel, you may want to kick that dial up to 4. But for casting purposes, I'm going to dial this one back down to 1. Just like that. Close it back up. As you see, when I push that button, it's going to fall at a pretty high rate. If it's falling too fast for you, you can fine tune it with your tension knob here. See, now it's barely falling. What I'll do is just loosen it a hair till it starts falling at a normal rate. Here's the important part. As I've said in a lot of my videos, I've taken thousands of people fishing over the years, over 5,000 guide trips. I've seen all variations of casts. I see a lot of people with the one-handed open cast where they're doing this, not getting a whole lot of distance, getting a lot of backlashes. When you're first starting out, this cast right here is not the way you want to go. First of all, when you're holding the reel, whether you're holding it like this or up here like this, the way I hold it, as soon as you cast it, you have to let your thumb off the spool, and now you're controlling the whole rod with the palm of your hand and just the grip of your 4 fingers, not giving you much control. You want to always put that other hand down here. Don't throw open-handed like you throw a spinning rod. If you're throwing a spinning rod and you cast right-handed, you're going to be casting over your right shoulder. When you're first starting out now, remember this is when you're first starting out, not for guys that tournament fish every weekend and who have years and years of experience. When you're first starting out with a baitcaster, you want to throw across your body. By across your body, I mean if you're holding the rod with your right hand, you're going to throw it over your left shoulder. That bait you don't want to hang that bait down more than 6 inches off the rod tip. I notice that a lot also, where people have the bait, 3-4 feet from the rod tip and casting like this, or they're casting like this. That's very inefficient. Reel whatever lure you're casting no more than 6 inches off the rod tip. Push your button, keep your thumb on the spool. Everybody knows that. Shouldn't even have to go over that your thumb has to be on the spool. Take your other hand, I cast right-handed, I reel left-handed. Put your left hand down here, come across your body. Get that elbow up to about chin level or just below your chin. Bring that rod tip way back so you're not pulling it down towards the water. Where I see a lot of people, when they're first starting out, casting over the same shoulder like they're casting a spinning rod that they're holding the reel with, is they're aiming at the water. They only come back so far and they're throwing it straight down. They're meaning to throw it out here, but it's landing right there because they don't have their timing down yet. And that's very important, is your timing. And that comes with repetition and experience. When you come across your body, it's a lot easier to bring that rod back further. It's a more natural range of motion than when you come this way and your elbow only bends back so far. A lot of people will open way up like this and then they're swinging across their body like this and they don't have a lot of accuracy. So when you're first starting out, get your other hand down here, this elbow up, pick out a nice puffy cloud up here and cast towards that. Don't cast at the water. I promise you it will land in the water unless you cast it straight up and it lands back in the boat. So pick out a nice puffy cloud at about, I guess if this was a clock, at about 2 o'clock this way. Come way back, forget about the water, and cast at that nice puffy cloud. That'll make you release your thumb a little bit sooner, and it's just like in baseball when pitchers do long toss. They're not pitching it at the person they're throwing to, they're throwing it up and out to get distance. You'll see here, I'm going to turn away from the camera here so you can see how far of a cast I can get by doing that. And then of course, as your bait's descending, getting closer to the water, you want to start applying your thumb back on the spool. Again, that's something everybody knows. Put your thumb on the spool when you cast, you have to put it back on the spool. What I notice a lot of people doing is when they're casting, they get so paranoid of getting backlash that they jam their thumb back on the spool. Kind of like a brake in a car. I saw that on a video, stealing it from his video. You're going to lightly apply your thumb to slow the spool down to a complete stop. Getting backlash is okay. A lot of people will recommend that you start out with a heavy weight, and like a 1 ounce weight I saw in a video. You're not going to be throwing very many 1 ounce lures. The majority of your lures are going to weigh less than an ounce. I mean, I don't even know what this fluke weighs, but it doesn't weigh even a fraction of an ounce hardly. I can even throw, we got a wind coming out of the southeast here. I'm going to turn and throw it right into the wind. Doing it this way, I don't have much control, and it's a slant angle where you're not going to have the accuracy to get it to land where you want. But if I come across my body, see the rod straight up and down, elbows up, get that rod tip up, come way back, a big arching cast, and you'll get it out there where you need to. No backlash. Properly adjusted reel, good quality reel, and you'll be ready to go. That's how I teach people how to throw a baitcaster. So, let me know what you think of this video. If you disagree with me, let me know. But you can't really disagree with me too much, because this is not how to throw a baitcaster. This is how I teach people how to throw a baitcaster. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this video. I'm gonna go catch some more fish. Please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share. I'll keep making videos, and I'll keep fishing every day, regardless. See ya.